Okay, so the new iPhones just dropped, the 16 and the 16 Pro. Which one should you get? I have a curveball to throw into the mix. Well, have you considered last year's 15 Pro instead? In this video, we're going to be comparing last year's 15 Pro and this year's 16 Pro to see if it's really worth an upgrade. We're going to talk about all the real life noticeable stuff. The camera, the size, the new camera button, and heat management. To answer the question, is it worth upgrading from 15 Pro to the 16 Pro? Let's talk about the size. The 15 Pro is 6.1 inches, the same size that the iPhone Pros have been since the 12. And the 16 Pro here for the first time is slightly bigger at 6.3 inches. If you have these two phones side by side, it's barely noticeable. The bezels are ever so slightly thinner, but also if you're not really paying attention to it and if you don't have them side by side, you're not going to be able to tell. One thing that's noticeably better about the 16 Pro screen is that it does get dimmer at the lowest setting. So it makes it easier for browsing late night in bed, which might be a bad thing because screen time before bed is not a good thing. One thing that you will notice though is the cameras. The ultra wide is bumped up from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels in the 16 Pro, and the telephoto is 5x improved over the previous 3x that you got. This means that the maximum zoom that you could achieve with the 15 Pro is 15x versus 25x on the 16 Pro. One of the things that all new iPhone 16s have is the camera button. I found it to be okay. The biggest problem right now is that I've already have muscle memory in accessing the camera. It takes me an extra step to remember to even use it. When I do use it, I find it to be pretty good, but jury's still out on how much I'm going to use it in the long term. And one nice thing about the 16 Pro is that it doesn't get as hot when charging. The 15 Pro was seriously the hottest phone I've ever used when charging. So, should you upgrade to the 16 Pro if you already have a 15 Pro? And my honest answer is no. I've gotten the latest iPhone every year for the past few years now. I really like when the 13 Pro came out because it had 120 hertz screen for the first time. I really like the 14 Pro because it had the dynamic island. I really like the 15 Pro because the new titanium build quality was super nice, so much lighter and more comfortable than the one before. However, upgrading this phone this time around was the first time in a while it felt more like a chore than me getting really excited about it. Having to move over all the apps, which took me about 3 hours, and having to sign into everything was a little bit of a hassle for something that's felt very similar. Look, if you are on the iPhone 13 generation and you're looking to upgrade, I think it's a very worthy upgrade. I think enough time has passed that all of the advantages have really added up to a really refined product at this point. So much so it seems like even the Apple engineers don't even know what to do with iPhones anymore. But if you're on anything from 14 and more recent, this is the easiest recommendation to skip on. So those are my thoughts on the 15 Pro versus the 16 Pro. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.